Hey, everybody. It's
Hey guys, so look, I'm sorry. I just realized I wore this shirt last week too.
we just sometimes we have too much fun before the show starts, and then
Yeah.
then the show starts and we think, what were we going to talk about?
I got distracted because I realized I had the same shirt on, and this is my running shirt. I like to run in it, you know?
Yeah, well, but you change hats.
I did. Hey, look, it's the season of the
Yeah,
holidays, you know?
ho ho ho.
Yeah, I got a hoe hat too, but that's a different one.
The whole hat's in the other room.
Yeah, she left an hour ago.
Jingle bells.
Jingle something. All right, let's go.
Well, hey, we thought maybe we would talk a little bit about I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
Things that are missing in our lives,
that's the one.
like his ho 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 is is missing.
As long as she doesn't come back 9 months from now.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Or
I don't know what's going on. Is there
or
whiskey in here?
leave a package on your doorstep. Oh,
Yeah, Merry Christmas, right?
yeah, oh, yeah. A belated Merry Christmas. Oh boy. Sometimes we make plans and they just get dashed. But we thought we'd talk a little bit about things that we remember from the old days. As we're kind of going into the holidays, we start thinking about the holidays, but there's other things other than the holidays. And we were talking about, there's lots of stuff that we're even doing for the holidays that we used to do differently, and it's
Yeah.
like gone. One of them is kind of reminiscent of the photo you got behind you, and that was, when the family used to get together, like on usually it was on Sundays, sometimes Saturday nights, but most of the time it was Sundays. Sunday afternoon, there wasn't football games and all that kind of good stuff going on, although there was, but used to just the family would get together. It was potluck Sunday. Everybody would in the neighborhood would come over. Sometimes it was the relatives would come one week. Sometimes it was the neighbors who would come some weeks. Sometimes it was just your buddies, and everybody would just have a cookout, or you bring potluck and throw it on a table, and everybody would sit and you would just talk for hours.
Yeah.
And that's missing. It's
Yeah, you said it too. You said a couple things that made me think of some stuff. One of them, and Sunday dinners was huge. And yeah, I miss those very much, going to my grandma and papa's house, walking in the basement, smelling what was happening, and then seeing what at the time, and even looking back, like a sea of family just there, uncles and cousins and kids. And, you know, I look back at those moments and how we came together. So, and of course, you go through that age where you're feeling forced to go. It's not that I didn't like going to see my family, my grandma and papa, or my cousins,
yeah,
but you don't want to hang out with your parents. So you're being forced to go, but you even still just appreciated what was there. I miss that. I miss that a lot. I tried to carry on that tradition with my friends as I moved out. It worked for a while. I'd still love to somehow bring that back now so Luke could see part of that, with even just a couple friends. And I'm not to say that we don't get together with dinner. We've done it a couple times. We've gone out, all of us, and he was there. It's just, it is hard. And also, your circle becomes like a straight line. So you only have like three friends.
well, yeah. And the key thing to what you're saying is that today we seem to go out to get together.
Yes.
In those days, you used to come in to get together. You and I were both raised in the Midwest, and if you grew up in the Midwest, you usually had a basement in the house,
Yes.
a
Yes.
finished basement or an unfinished basement. And I ran in my basement, and almost every friend that I had in the basement, he had a ping pong table. And so like while mom and whatever and the aunts and whatever were putting together the dinner and everything, the kids would go downstairs and we'd play ping pong. you know
Yeah.
Today, what do? You get out the Xbox and the controller, and you sit on the couch and you're doing that. And The major difference was you don't get any exercise today. Then it was exercise. You didn't really think about it, but you were moving around and
Yeah,
that extra. But those old family get-togethers, they meant something. They also used to last for what, 2, 3, 4 hours. You'd get there a little afternoon and then you'd leave just before sunset.
absolutely.
Everything's over within 60 minutes.
You're done. It's like everybody's on this alleged schedule. They're so hyped into what they have to do. They don't realize that half the stuff they don't have to do. Like you could just say, forget it. Like I get that way sometimes. I look at my day and I'm like, I've got these 7 hours. I've got to do 50,000 things. And I realize only one of them is probably important.
Right.
One of them needs to get done. The rest gives a crap.
Yeah.
And we rush through dinner and
Or
I don't know. I miss that. I miss that getting together with that. And even we're talking about friends and doing activities. I understand that, especially when you have kids or grandkids or jobs, like and they move, like things, that you can't hang out all the time. It's okay.
yeah.
But the longer it goes or the later in life it goes, I feel like the stretches of not hanging out. I just saw my buddy David Harvey a week or two or a month ago. It's the first time that we've hung out since like April. Now I know he moved further away, but like we used to make it a point to get together every month.
Right.
And I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just speaking it. And it used to be like clockwork, boom, boom, boom. As a kid, it was like every Friday, every Saturday. What are we doing? Let's get together. Or even as a young adult, didn't matter what you did. You might just go to somebody's house and sit on the patio and talk.
Yeah. When we were kids, I mean, hanging out meant either going to a movie, going to play pick up a basketball or something on somebody's driveway. It meant going and doing something physical together. Today, hanging out could be kind of an extension of what you and I are doing right now. You're on the computer, you're zooming,
Zooming
and I mean that just doesn't quite qualify as hanging out. To just zooming and catching up. Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. How you doing?
Right.
Not the same thing as, hey, why don't I meet you down the street and everything? We'll grab a burger and and sit and chat.
Well, and it's like one of those things like I get it if they're out of state. Like
Right.
I've
Exactly.
done that with several friends. We have little Zoom calls, we crack open some drinks, and hey, that it is fun, especially during the whole COVID nonsense, you got to do that sometimes. But to me, when people say they don't have time, it's because they don't want to make time. That's the reality of it. Look, you and I struggle to get coffee sometimes, and it's usually my fault because I'm busy. But I always find a day to where I'm like, we're doing it, and we do it. It might be 2 weeks after the fact,
Right.
but we do it. So because I don't always want to do this and communicate through text, let's just go hang out, and have a cup of coffee. Like you make time for what you want to do.
That's right. And when we say make time, we're talking about making personal time.
Personal time.
Quality time, not quantity.
Yeah, I miss that. You brought up being the friends, like hanging out. I used to have these two friends growing up right when I was about to get into high school. And it was like the summer going into freshman year. And I'd ride my bike down to their house. They're like 6 houses down. And the garage would be open. The chairs would be there. We'd play some basketball, go shoot BB guns, go play football, go walk, go ride bikes, get an ice cream all day in that house, like just in that area. Like we'd sit in the garage and just be like, what are we doing? Nothing. Oh, cool. Drink some Gatorade. Like that was awesome. I miss the simplicity of that.
Yeah. And in the wintertime, you used to take a toboggan or a sled or something, and you'd go find a hill, and you would spend 2, 3, 4 hours out in the just sliding down a hill and climbing back up and doing it over and over and over again.
Oh my God, you're right, man. In the wintertime, it didn't change anything. It just
Yeah.
we just had to change what we were doing, and it was really beautiful actually because it meant something. Even now to this day at almost 44, I guess technically I am 44. I keep forgetting. You know, I think about it and I can remember every detail of that moment, you know.
Yeah. And today, if it was winter and I was to call you up and say, hey, you want to go grab a toboggan or something?
I would do it.
Say, yeah. I mean, we would do it, but most people would say, are you kidding? You know,
Where are we going to go in Texas?
yeah.
They get a half an inch of snow and the entire state shuts down. You know?
That's true. Yeah.
Everybody stay home. It's over.
Yeah, and if you get a little ice, you say, "I'm not going outside." If you were up north, you'd grab your skates and you'd be out there in a minute.
We used to do it on the back of the car. Totally dangerous. Surprised we didn't die. But
Yeah,
we would sit there and hook up a sled to the back of the car and get wheeled around
and go over to the local park and
and
just
just zip, zip,
around.
zip.
You should do that, and in the spring and summer and early fall, we used to do that on a skateboard. You
Yeah.
a rope to the back of somebody's car to the bumper or whatever, and get on your skateboard and let them just pull you around
We
through
we
the
would go
local.
to the Myers. You remember Myers, right?
Yeah,
The grocery
yeah,
store. 24 hours, much better than Walmart's garbage. And we would go to Myers, and when it was a little snowy in those big giant parking lots, we'd have races in the shopping carts. Run out and try to spin them and topple over, and oh, it was great, you know.
and also that was a place where the snow plows would come along and plow those parking lots and
Oh,
create those 8 foot mountains of snow that you could go over there and you could make snow castles and stuff out of it. You dig your way and make places to hang out.
yeah, we would, or you'd climb the dirty snow, you know, it was like this big Mount Everest, and then just jump into the next one. Like, yeah, you know, again, it was moments that were pure. And they might have been in, you know, might have got in trouble, but they were pure. They were innocent.
Yeah,
It was very nice. It was very, I mean, even now as I talk about it, you feel something good. And I think it's that connection with your people. Like, I have a hard time because I think we all do. There's certain people in your life that you just don't see anymore, or they passed away. Like, I was thinking of my buddy Paulie from Chicago. Okay, it was just, he just, you know, like the thing popped up on Facebook or something, you know. And we used to do those neighborhood things where in his neighborhood, you know, like you said, wheel out the grills, everybody hanging out, playing in the streets. I think I just miss my guys. I just like, they're not around anymore. I just miss my boys, you know. It's
yeah.
something different, you know.
And today, if you're going to go meet somebody, you get in the car and you drive over there. When we were kids, if they lived 4, 5, 6 blocks away, you walked. It could be 10 below. You'd get an extra scarf and your parka and everything, and somebody say, "Hey, why don't you come on over to my house and we'll play ping pong in the basement?" Okay, I'll be there in 15, 20 minutes. Put on your boots, head out the door. Ma, I'll be back at dinner time.
Yeah, see, and they don't care. See you later. Get out of here.
Yeah. Today your mother would say, "You ain't going anywhere." You know,
Well, today you got to fight to get the kids out the house anyway. I mean, luckily with Luke, I'm still there where I'm like, we go. I mean, we go for walks, we go for
yeah,
runs, we go to the park, you know, even if he likes to play, and this kid does nonstop play, you know. Um, I kick him out, bro. We're going outside. I don't care if you want to go. Let's roll. And he's good, you know. But now you got to kick these kids out of the house, or people out of the house. People don't want to leave their comfort zone.
yeah. I also miss, I miss the personal interaction with people. For instance, when we were growing up, we had a milkman, and I mean,
Mm,
milkman would come almost the same time every week. And he would be right at the door to give them the old bottles and take the new bottles in and say, "Hey, Mr. Carter, thank you very much. See you next week." You know,
yeah.
so had a mailman that would come up to the door and he'd either put it in the slot or he'd put it in your mailbox, which was right next to the door, and you'd wave to him. And the delivery services, everything now is just totally impersonal. You go down to the end of the block. If you live in an apartment complex, you go to the end of the block and your mailbox is there with 24 other mailboxes. And if it's inclement weather, so what? you have to go get your own mail. You don't have milkmen anymore. You want milk, you go to the grocery store and you get your own milk. Uh, we've just, that's what modern times have brought us. And what a lot of modern times have done is eliminated that personal interaction with people.
I agree. I was super blessed, and I think we all were humbled maybe when COVID happened. And that was when I first moved to the apartment with Luke, and he was 2, going on 3. And we had to be around, that area. We had just moved in and all that. So one of the coolest things ever was, and I'll never forget it, and when he's older, I'll bug him about it. The coolest thing ever was we got to know our mailman. His name's Darian, by the way. Still, I think he watches the show still. We got to know him. He watched Luke for 2 years grow up. We walked. We would go play in the park or play just soccer in the field with nobody there. And we got to know him. We talked to him. Luke would talk to him. We got to know the garbage man until he got a new route. And Luke would sit down and watch the garbage man roll by, wave, talk to him. The UPS driver, because everybody was ordering crap. The UPS driver got to know Luke. Matter of fact, the UPS driver and the mailman gave Luke, he gave him a UPS car on his birthday when he was 3. And then he gave, the mailman gave him a mail car when he was 3. And when we moved from the apartment, we gave, unfortunately, I lost the garbage truck, and the driver got another route. UPS guy got another route, but the mailman, Darian, we gave him Starbucks gift card, a donut gift card, and said goodbye. Now I couldn't tell you what my mailman looks like. I have no idea.
Yeah, well, because they don't get out of their vehicles at all. It's all done by truck. Uh, when we lived in Florida, in South Florida, we had a business, and the UPS driver used to come by pretty much between 4 and 4:30 every day. Our dog would run to the front door of the business and all. She knew when that big brown truck pulled up, it was UPS driver, for 2 reasons. Number one, he always used to pet her and rubber tummy, and he always used to give her a treat. And he had it right in his pocket. So we moved to Texas, and all of a sudden a UPS truck pulls up in front of our house and starts up the stairs. The dog is sitting there wagging. Even when I take her for a walk, we see a UPS truck, she stops because she thinks that there's a guy over there that I know and I like, because he's going to come over, you pat me on the head and give me a treat. And that doesn't really exist much anymore. In fact, if the UPS driver comes to your house, he usually comes up close to the house, tosses the package on the steps, and he's gone.
Yeah, he pulls a Tom Brady.
And you get a text. Your delivery has been completed.
That makes me think of so obviously, I didn't live in Chicago, but I was there all the time. Stayed there with Paulie, stayed there with people for weeks at a time. Sometimes, whatever. Sometimes I just go for the day and hang out and turn around and come back. But he had a beat cop, the neighborhood cops, police officers that walk the beat, walk the neighborhood. And we got to know him, and he knew everybody in the area.
Yeah.
And he knew what was what should be what, and all that. And it was really cool. And I personally think we need that again. I personally think that you can't do that obviously all the time. And I know in New York and stuff, but I think it's some of these, I think in Frisco, quite frankly, even though it's a small town and we see that the police officers drive, they got like 37 police officers and on my street. I think we need one. Look, there's sidewalks. I think that certain times a day, we need them to walk around to get to know the neighborhood, to get to know the people that are in the neighborhood. So if something looks off, so if you see Jim Bob standing at the corner, he's not a creeper. He just likes to talk on the corner and smoke a cigarette. He's not a bad guy. Yeah. So we don't get some person calling on Jim Bob, and the cop knows that. Or if somebody moves into the neighborhood, when they start to see, boxes and stuff, they're like, oh, that's a new guy. I think we need that personal connection because on number one, I think it eliminates crime and I think it creates that good rapport between us and the police force, but it also brings back that human connection. And I do miss that because that beat cop, I remember the day he retired, everybody in the neighborhood came out.
Right.
Everybody came out. It was a pretty awesome experience.
Well, and same thing like what you mentioned about you usually had a mailman for years and years and years. It wasn't like a different one every week. It was
Mhm.
the same guy. And a Christmas time, he would come around and as he approached the house, you'd open the door and mom or dad would hand him an envelope
Yes.
because you knew them and there was some consistency. And that's all gone these days. Uh, and I also remember there was never, ever an ice cream bar that I ever got that tasted better than the one from the guy on the little three-wheel, ice
Or
cream
the bike.
bike. Yeah, you used to come to the neighborhood, jingle, 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 jingle. You could run out of the house to get that ice cream bar. And man, it was the best ice cream bar. It had probably been sitting in that cart for hours and hours and hours, but it was better than anything you ever got at Dairy Queen or any
I,
places.
you're right. I was going to talk about the ice cream, man. We had an ice cream. It was ice cream lady who came in our neighborhood
Yeah,
every year, every summer, boom, like clockwork. And I couldn't get it every day,
right.
but I got it enough, whether my parents knew or not. And Luke, I don't think has ever had an ice cream from an ice cream man before. We had one when COVID happened coming to the apartment complex, and this fool drove right by us. I'm like, I think I might have said something
Every
about
once in a while there'll be one that comes through our neighborhood, but I'm telling you, in the summers that we get in Texas when it's 100
to be there.
for 2-3 weeks in a row, you would think these ice cream vendors would be out there nonstop, but
Agreed.
sometimes you may see them come in your neighborhood 3 times an entire summer.
I'm hoping now where I'm at now, I am hoping. Now, I talked to a guy that comes through or that has, or he did, that comes through with, I call them the ice cream bars from Mexico.
Yeah,
Those ones that got like the real juice and the coconut. And he's got a bike. So I'm hoping this summer that he does it because he lives like 5 doors down from me. And I'm like, come on, buddy.
there you go. Yeah.
Because I'm eyeballing that already. I don't want it now, but I'll see you in June. That's the other thing too. I feel really blessed about. I have to say this is where I move now. I'm getting this vibe, this connection, this neighborhood connection with my neighbors from what they've done to help me already. Just to saying hi to each other, just talking to each other, talking to Luke. It's like
Yeah.
it's this little bubble within our city. And I got to be honest with you, man. I mean, food delivered, I give them food. I've dropped off donuts, dropped off cases of water. Lady next door was having a barbecue at like 10 or 11 at night. Man, I went outside to just kind of sit on the patio. She brought me a plate. Like it feels like that. And I think it's because of the area I am, and I'm hoping that we stay that way. So I'm over there like Mr. Rogers, like howdy neighbor to everybody.
But and it's good that you say that some of those things that you remember from your childhood are dead, and then all of a sudden you realize that now you're in a neighborhood where some of those traditions, it's different people, different faces, different names,
That's it.
but some of those traditions that they remember, they are bringing back, and they're sharing
Cool.
with you, and you say, "Oh, this is so refreshing."
It is, man. I truly blessed is the only way I can feel. Even on the hardest days and the no heat days and
Yeah,
the broke paycheck days, I'm like, you know what, man, this is cool. This is cool.
it's cool, and those are the memories that we have and that we share, and we enjoy just kind of sharing them with you. And hope you enjoy it and share some of those memories with your family and friends, and remember those as we head into the holiday season and everything. It's fun to sit and reminisce and get together as a family. So make it a good one, and then make sure you come back here again. 8 o'clock next Tuesday for another edition of Trash Talk.
That's right.